Hi, my name is Olga Carney. I'm Sales Account Manager for Sooner Than Later. I'm excited to chat today with our two guests, Isis from Vodafone and Clarissa from Amazon. We'll be chatting in a few minutes about the challenges that foreign women face while working in Ireland. But firstly, I'd like to tell you a little bit about Sooner Than Later. We've been operating for the last 35 years. We're a print and mailing and distribution company. We specialize in both transactional and direct mail, and we operate 24 hours a day. 24 hours, 5 days a week. We're always trying to evolve. At the end of last year, we created the Giving Box. It's a premium corporate box that we created. It's full of Irish products that we support Irish business, plus a percentage went to the great charity Laura Lynn. Two of the companies that we were lucky enough to work with were RT Guide and Accenture, plus obviously many more companies as well. So we can create, design, and dispatch any type of box for you and your company. Right, enough about us. Let's have a chat with Isis from Vodafone. Hi, Isis. And Clarissa.
Hi, Olga.
Hi. And Clarissa from Amazon. Hi, Clarissa.
Hi, hello. Thanks for inviting us.
Well, thank you for coming. So if you'd like to introduce yourself to us and let us know, tell us a bit about yourself. So Isis?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Isis. And as Olga said, I'm Brazilian. Actually, no, she didn't say. She said I'm from Vodafone. So I'm a Brazilian working in Vodafone. But I live in Ireland for the last almost 5 years now. And when Olga mentioned about this talk, I was delighted to join because I think we're going to have a very good conversation on how it to be an immigrant working in another country and going through all the challenges and adaptation. So thanks for having me.
Thank you. And Clarissa?
Hi, Olga. Hi, Isis. Thank you for receiving me. My name is Clarissa. I am from Brazil as well, and I've been living in Ireland for the past 7 years or so, and I am currently working for Amazon as well.
Very good. Well, I'd like to take a quick look at a survey that we came across. It's from NCP, which was published last year, and it's a survey about employability of migrant women. So as you can see there's quite a different range of varieties of barriers. And at the bottom now, for example, work permit, there was about over 400 people, 400 women interviewed, and work permit was one of the main barriers that, for migrant women to work in Ireland. Could either of you share your experience if any of these, if you had any issues with these, or this helped stop you from working, or did it, the struggles from working?
Yeah, I think I can. So I do agree that when I saw this document, I wasn't surprised. Work permit is one of the main barriers.
Yeah.
So when I moved to Ireland was to do a master's, and after you finish your master's, you can have a grad visa that allows you to work full time for a certain period of time. So I was very lucky that the year that I moved here was from 1 year extended to 2 years. And that gave me the opportunity to join companies and show my work before I said, I do have to go through the visa process with you. When you come here as a student, maybe for a bachelor or even for a higher diploma or language exchange, you don't have the period of time to acclimatize and to try your chance in a company. You barely have any right to work besides part-time. So most of the people ended up going to retail or any job that allows you to work part-time. So I think that this is still a big challenge. It's not because companies are not willing to hire foreigners, but it's because there is a lack of knowledge of what is the process of applying for a visa for a foreigner worker. And I think some companies, especially the multinationals, are a bit more aware because they deal with many foreigners, but smaller companies tend to be a bit less knowledgeable. So that's why the first time that you said, oh, actually, I have to renew my visa or I need a sponsorship, the firm, companies say like, oh, no, cut you from the process. And then they find someone else that don't have any kind of those challenges. So yeah, and this is my experience. Liza, did you experience something like this?
No, but what I would say here is that for work permit, most of the work permits in Ireland, I would say, are around the tech field, and we know as well that this is a male-dominated field. It's not very common to see a lot of women going into tech, degrees or computer science or engineering, STEM disciplines, basically. So I would say that probably is a factor because most of the companies that do provide work permit are in the tech industry.
Yeah, I think some companies, as you say, some of the smaller companies, they might be afraid that, oh, you get the permit and then you just run and go to another company. But that isn't necessarily the case, aren't you? You're tied into that company, working for that company if you get a visa through the company. Would that be correct?
Yeah, so I don't want to get into details here about visas, but
Yeah.
you have two main venues. One is a specialized one that you have to stay 2 years with the company,
Yeah.
and the other one is you have to stay 5 years employed, not necessarily by the same company.
Right.
But I just want to express that when a foreigner is looking for a job, they never take those things lightly. So I don't think anyone would get a visa and every time that you have to change companies, you have to go through the process again, and it's a high cost. So at least you'd be spending €1,000 for every time that you apply, plus your review every year. Every year that is €300. I just want to say it's not something that people apply for a job, do the visa, and then they jump to the next opportunity.
Exactly.
Usually they tend to stay.
Yeah, and that is important. That it's kind of, if you're going to go through that whole process, you're there for a while and you want to work in that company and experience it and learn as much as you can. So I think that is important that some companies realize that you're not just going to disappear once they get you the visa or anything. So I just wanted to say that. Right. So I suppose we can. I actually had a question here, but you already answered in your introduction. I was going to ask how long have you been living here, so we're scrapping that. That's not going to be asked now. So we're down a question. So the next question I have is, what are the biggest challenges you have found working in Ireland? Isis?
I think the biggest challenge is just when you move to a new country, is just to adapt in general, to trying to understand what is the local culture. And this to even how to apply for jobs and how to do interviews. So I remember when I was doing my first interview, we have a very different interview style in Brazil, and here wouldn't work. I thought it was a bit of noise there. So here wouldn't work. So you have to understand how to build your CV that attend the same needs of Ireland and the Europe in general, how to prepare to interviews. And then, of course, when you get the job, it's just how do you work in Ireland and how do you deal with different people. And working for Vodafone, that is a multinational, we have many different other cultures. So we have to flex all the time. You have to be respectful to the differences, and we have to adapt and flex all the time because that's the way that we work. There is no right way. It's the way of working together. I think besides that, coming back a little bit from to your point of the main challenges and barriers, I think for me, experience outside Europe, some of the times that I was applying for jobs, they would be saying, "Oh, but you don't have experience in Europe. Your experience all in Brazil." They cut me there. But then after, there are a few times as well that they say, "Oh, you do have experience in Europe, but you don't have experience in Ireland or working for the Irish market." And then I would stop there. So I think Ireland is a very highly competitive market, especially for my field that is in marketing. And there's always someone who has a little bit of an edge than you. And this could be an experience with a product or an experience with a certain market. So you get those things all the time. But by being a foreigner, some of those lists there I also experienced.
So would you have had fluent English before you came here, or did you learn when you came here?
Yeah, I came here to do the master, so I do speak English, but I don't think it was at the same level that I'm now.
Right, very good. And Clarissa, your biggest challenges you found working in Ireland?
I would say that for me, my experience is a bit different because I didn't work a lot in Brazil before moving here. I came here straight after finishing college, and I had only done a few internships back in Brazil. So it was easy for me to adapt, let's say, but because I didn't have a previous thing to compare with.
Yeah.
But I would say that this is probably the biggest challenge that people have in general, is just that challenge of just fitting in with the culture of the country. You just have to forget everything you learned back home,
Right.
whatever your country is, and just go with whatever the Irish market needs, which is, the way we interview is different, the way we hire is different, the way we ask questions, the way we follow up on the questions. You just have to get involved and jump head straight into this idea and into the culture of the country, I guess.
Just go for it and see what happens.
Yeah, if you're
And
trying to fight it, if you're trying to fight and if you're trying to make sense of it, it's going to
yeah,
be way bigger of a challenge than it needs to be, basically.
very good. And do you believe being a woman amplifies these challenges or not? Lisa?
Being a woman amplifies some challenges, but not this one per se. And I would say that for us, so I am a female in leadership, right? There are some challenges that come with that from being a woman. There isn't a lot of female leaders in tech, for example, but it would be a lot worse in Brazil. I mean, you
Really?
would not know a 27-year-old woman who is a leader in tech in a multinational company like it's here. Here, I
Right.
have a lot more opportunities than I would have back home. So there are some challenges, and we need to be aware of them, and we need to learn how to work around them. Like, for example, there is a lot more women in middle management than in C-level positions. So that's something that we have to advocate for, and we have to fight for within our companies, and we have to change the mindset around leaders, high-level leaders in organizations. But in Brazil, the fight, or in most of the other countries, I would say they're way far behind than what we are here now.
Right. Okay. And Edith, would you say being a woman amplifies these challenges that you have or not?
Look, I think depends of who you're talking about. Like for me, I moved here young enough. I didn't have any care function, so I didn't have kids, didn't have a parent to care. So for me, it's quite easy just throw myself there, trying to find the best opportunity and grab it. But let's say that I was in a different circumstances. If I was a mother of a child or few of them,
Yeah.
it's way more complicated to find a job that works around your schedule. And I'm seeing a lot since the pandemic started, parents having to work around their schedules to take care of their children. And
Yeah.
as we know, in the end of the day, a lot of those cases is the mother who is taking the main function of carer. And that means that she has to work full time, educated, feed, and bathe
Yeah.
all the children, if it's not only one. And this it is a challenge because this is hours of energy that you could be putting and maybe working towards a promotion that your husband or your partner might be working towards, and
Yeah.
you have to dedicate those hours to children or to parents. So I think being a woman definitely that is their challenge, but depends of each one's story and each one's point of
Yeah.
life.
Because I see here on the survey, out of the 400 and odd women that were interviewed, that 92 actually had childcare as one of the barriers. So that, bringing that into the mix is just, I can't even imagine it. And especially a foreign woman coming in with children, it just, all I can do is highly, commend these women who've done this and managed to have actually carried on a successful career and juggle a family life as well at home. It's, hats off to them because I couldn't do it. Okay, so what tips, if any, would you give to women who are here in Ireland and they're trying to enter into the work environment? Lisa?
What tips? First of all, you have to learn the language.
Yeah.
I talked about earlier about inserting yourself in the culture.
Yeah.
Obviously, like for most of the jobs that you need to go for, the language is one of the main points. You have to
Yeah.
speak the language, and you have to understand not just the language, not just the English language, but try to understand it from the Irish way. And depending on the field, like Izzy said earlier, like if you're in marketing, for example, in certain fields, you actually need to understand the culture, the market, what people are talking about, what are the buzzwords here, let's say.
Yeah.
you need to understand the business lingo. If you're in tech, you need to understand the business lingo of tech. If you need to be in a more formal role, you need to understand the language as well. So it's not just learning English, but actually insert yourself into the Irish culture. And don't fight against the culture. Like I said before, try to get a little bit away from whatever your community is. If you are French, Spanish, Colombian, it doesn't matter. Like, don't be only around people from your home country. Try to get out from your shell a little bit, get out of your comfort zone. You are here to have a different experience, to learn new things. So you should be trying new foods, meeting people from other cultures, open your mind a little bit, get out of the shell, because I think that's a mistake that a lot of people make when they come over to a new country. And Irish people were guilty of that as well when they go to Australia or whatever, staying in your bubble. That way you're not going to experience the full extent of that the culture has to offer you.
That's very good advice, yeah. And that's exactly, because I was in Australia going back, many moons ago, and that's the thing, is you found like the Irish and even the English, they all kind of hung around, sorry, they all hung around together. And yeah, it's kind of, why bother going over there if that's the case, if you're going to be just hanging around with your same. You need to experience the culture you're in, you need to experience the people, their way of how, they do things. That's how you grow as a person, I think, and you learn. So yes, just jump right in. If the Irish people are friendly, and we'll help as much as we can. So great advice. And Isis, yourself, have you any tips?
Yeah, I think what Liza said really good. I think it's about as well networking. So trying to find people that have the roles that you would like to apply for. And then, of course, trying to create those relationships. I think personal branding, being a marketer, I have to say personal branding is really, really essential when you're job seeking and trying to create awareness around yourself as a professional. So have your LinkedIn up to date, do like a really good job with your CV and talk to people, give them a reason to listen to you. And I think LinkedIn is a brilliant platform for that. It's for free, everyone have access, and then you can build your community and bring visibility to you with zero cost. You just need time. And I would say as well, be positive, because it is hard to try to break in a new country. And I think just keep positive that it will happen if you keep persisting. So be persistent.
Well, you've done a great job of branding yourself. Your podcast is amazing. I just wanted to say that. So you've done a very good job of it. So it's true. So finally, what advice would you give to any women who are still living in their own country, but they would like to move to Ireland to work here? I suppose similar to what you're saying already, just jump in, or, would you have any other advice kind of just to make that move and leave the country? Because I'd say it's a very scary thing to do, leaving your country to come here. So would you have any advice to these women who are wanting to move?
Yeah, my advice would be, this is less professional, but it's be mindful of your finances. I think a lot of people jump to an exchange, like a country exchange, and they come with €100 in their pockets, and they don't know what's going to happen. Like, they don't know if a pandemic is coming. They don't know if they're going to get a job as quickly as they thought. So if you can, of course, every person has a different circumstances, but if you can plan your way to come over here with a bit of a buff and give yourself time to adapt and find those opportunities, please do, because this makes a huge difference. So planning your way through instead of just jump in.
Very good.
That's exactly what I had in mind, actually. And the other thing that I was thinking is work smart. So you shouldn't be shy in reaching out to people, but you should reach out to people in the appropriate manner. So research what is the local culture. For example, like Izzy said it earlier about networking and about getting to know people in your field, in the area that you're going to work. You can reach out to them on LinkedIn. But there is a right way to reach out, and there is a right approach, and there is the annoying approach, and you don't want to be the annoying one. So research about the culture, research about how to have that correct approach, how to brand yourself, and then build those connections and reach out to people, ask for tips, and bring value to those people that you're reaching out to. Because everyone is quite busy, and let's face it, we like to help people, but everyone is busy with their lives. If you come in and instead of just asking for stuff, you're actually adding into that person's experience, you're actually adding value to their life, they're going to be a lot more willing to help you and to open up to you.
Very good. Well, I think that's it, really. I'd just like to say thank you so much to both of you, for taking the time out and to come here and chat with us. And I suppose all I have to say is wish all the women and the two of you a very happy International Women's Day, and the best of luck to all the women who are planning on leaving their countries and coming to Ireland. And as you can see, these two fabulous ladies have managed to successfully come in here, and you're going to take over the world. Well, take over Ireland, not the world. Ireland first and then the world. So thanks a million, guys. I really mean it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Olga. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.